Jenny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and the founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. And I'm here to share the speaker portion of our Connections Over Coffee gathering of the On Purpose Woman Global Community. Dr. Carla Stricker Johnston speaks on who do you want to be when you get older? Dr. Carla Johnston is a board-certified nutrition specialist and certified health coach. She earned her doctorate in clinical nutrition and her MS in herbal medicine from the Maryland University of Integrative Health and an MA in applied sociology from the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, focusing on the impact of chronic illness on aging adults. Her nourishment programs focus on individualized approaches to whole body-centered health, supporting those wishing to age in health, happiness, purpose, and grace. You can find out more at her website, drcarlajohnston.com, and it's also in the text of this video. So welcome, Carla. Looking forward to what you're going to say. Thanks for being here.
Of course, it's good to see you. So I want to start this talk with a question, and that is, who do you want to be when you get older? So take a deep breath, and if you want to write it down, or perhaps you want to think about, who do you want to be when you get older? If you're like me, when I first posed that question or asked that question, I thought about when I was a kid, that question of what do you want to be when you grow up? And depending on the day or the week, it could go fireman to doctor to nurse to artist to singer, whatever it was, veterinarian, lion tamer even. What is it that I desired? And for me, the question came up that I wanted to be in healing. My goal as a child was always to be a doctor, to take care of people. And when you're sick, you're vulnerable and many times scared. And I felt like that was such a great occupation in alleviating suffering, allowing comfort, and then bringing expertise that could help someone along their health journey. And then life happened, challenges happened. So at 19, I was married and had a child, and all of that goal setting, all of those dreams shifted. And I had to make some new goals and dreams based on taking care of a child. So at 43, I actually graduated with my bachelor degree after 11 years of trying, because I had to keep stopping and starting because, of course, I was a mom. I was working, and that took priority. So I would take a semester and then I would have to drop out for 2 more and so on. At age 58, I graduated with my doctorate in clinical nutrition. Very different than a medical doctor. And it allowed me to study, to assist those that are on this, what I call the health continuum, this aging continuum. And I look through the eyes of what I call my nourishment nines, because all of us, every single person listening to this, every person on this call is unique. None of us share these 9 traits, and that is our connection, how we connect to the world, how do we connect with family and social groups? What is our health status? Do we currently have an illness, or do we have some limitations that we're working with our health? Different ages, nutrition requirements, life purpose, genetics, the environment that we live in, movement and sleep. All of those things for all of us is absolutely unique. The one thing that all of us share is this concept of time. We all have 24 hours in a day. Now, I've pushed the limit and tried to beg off for 26 and 27 hours, as I'm sure many of us have. And how do I use that time with those 9 things to take care of myself and to take care of other people? And so that's where that balance came in for me, this concept of nourishment, and why I shifted from nourishment of what's physically on the plate to what's on life's plate. So if I have a movement challenge, what does that look like for me that I can shift around? Perhaps it may not be cardio and running a 10K. Perhaps it may be Tai Chi that allows me to sleep well, that allows me to wake up feeling refreshed, that allows me to be creative and eat and drink water, be hydrated, and then allow me to connect to community. They all work together. So as I work with and as I get older, I realize that there are many ways of getting that balance. And some of it is checking in with our intuition. If I'm off balance, where is it that I can make some shifts? And as I'm getting wiser, where do I go for support and resources? Because as the wisdom increases, for me, part of that wisdom is when do I go out and ask and pull and read and decipher? And when do I go in and go, let me kind of sit with this for a minute. I'm feeling uneasy, or I'm feeling anxious, or I'm feeling excited. And how do I incorporate all of those things? And so this community of support, I realized, because I'm a lifelong learner, I think all of us can agree that I'm pretty practiced in deadlines and academic skills. And how do I take the contemporary research that I've been learning over these many years that I love and I have a passion for? And then how do I marry that with these traditional wisdom pieces that we're blessed with? And what are those pieces that can fit together with it? So it may be, and I call it a circle, it may be that jumping in the circle is through nutrition or through sleep. It may be through acupuncture or massage therapy or Tai Chi, whatever those modalities are. What does that look like that I can shift the energy that takes care of where I am? So I also talk a lot about the concept of both and. People that know me go, oh, I know, I usually get the eye roll. I know, both end, both end. For me, that's really important. And here's why. If I have a challenge in my life, say I have some mobility issues at this point, or my digestive system is off track, and I'm going to talk about that from the health in a second, then it's, yes, I'm experiencing that. And where do I go from here? So it's not an all-encompassing thing. If I'm working with someone, or I have friends, they're in the middle of this tremendous health crisis. They're really struggling, and this caregiver is taking care of their spouse, and they're really struggling. And to sit with them and say, what is it that you just need to say? What is it that I can hear that you don't have the ability to say to anyone else? What made you smile today? To shift the conversation away from every piece of life that's challenging to one in a respectful way, to one that kind of shifts that energy to what can be done for you? How do you fill your own cup without a to-do list? What does self-care look like? So some people might say, spa day, which sounds lovely. A walk on the beach sounds lovely. What if self-care that day is just having a meal with music? Or what if that day you just take a walk outside for 2 minutes and don't think about anything else that's going on? What if self-care that day is picking up the phone and saying, I just need somebody to hear me for 10 minutes. I don't want any advice. I don't want you to fix anything. I don't want you to tell me what to do. I just need to say this. For me, those self-care pieces envelop us and assist us with health, which is an important part of all of these pieces that we're working on as we get older. As I said, the both and, when I ask people what they think or what their definition of getting older is, I smile sometimes when people roll their eyes and go, well. And so without judgment, I listen to what their view is. And some, if they're in the middle of a crisis, it's going to be leaning toward that. And for someone who, for example, just had their first grandchild, it's the exuberance. If I could talk, that would be helpful. And so it's the continuum for me. It's always the continuum. It's always this shades of what is now, what is both and. And none of us live in one area all the time. I use the analogy of waves a lot. We kind of crest the wave when we're going up, we're working on something, and then we're at the top and we have this beautiful scenery. It's calm, it's lovely. And then the wave kind of comes down. It's kind of like, oh, okay, how long am I going to be down here? And then I wait to go back up. It's this dance of life that as we get older can be challenging, it can be joyful, it can be inspiring, it can be stressful, it can be uncomfortable and uncertain. Now, I'm 61. I just started my practice and my business. So I am a beginner at all of this. Social media, learning all of it. I'm depending on people to help me with that in the same way that I'm working with people on their health. So I need to be open to what it is that I need to do. I always smile at people when they say, oh, I need this, whatever this is, to be fixed. This is what I want to work on. I'll do anything to do that. And then as we work through, yeah, no, that's not going to work for me. Yep, did that before. Yeah, that didn't work either. I might be considering that. Maybe, maybe not. Well, how do I know that? Because I do that myself. We're human. That's how we do things. We kind of test the water. We're looking for what makes sense. And I would encourage you to take a look in, as we're all unique. And we all have different pictures. We've all lived different lives. We all have different transition periods in life. And to do that with grace and also without judgment, the harshness. I'm going to share just a little story that I've been given permission to share. I'm not going to use a name. It's just a circumstance that someone has given me permission to use. So our health can be the manifestation of our mind body. So if I'm constantly anxious and stressful, we know there's a gut-brain connection, so it can show up in the gut. And many times that's how we know we're off balance. We'll start to feel sluggish or brain fog, or my stomach all of a sudden is going crazy, or whatever the case may be, my sleep cycle's off. And I was talking with someone who was really feeling those things and had gone to the doctor and shared with me that their social calendar was just completely loaded with doctor's appointments. They really didn't have time for social connection any longer, that it was just tests and blood work and things like that. So we had a conversation because they came in and said, just tell me what to eat. Just tell me what to eat so I can feel better. And so in conversation, what I recognized is that this person had just made the decision and was transitioning into retirement, leaving this amazingly incredible job, running this big organization, and now transitioning into retirement. And what did that look like? Who was this person were it not for this job and title? What was the day going to be filled with? Who am I now that I am no longer that? And so the question we came up with together is, as you're a beginner at learning how to retire, what will that look like for you? When I asked her how many times she retired, she kind of laughed at me like, what are you talking about? So my point was, if you've never retired before, you don't have the experience. So you're making it up as you go along, right? You can take resources, you can take other people's experiences, you can go within and decide, and then you move accordingly. You do the journey accordingly. And that's what we're all called to do as we get older. That's what I see as we get older. The world I want to live in is those of us that are getting older assist the younger folks that are coming up with wisdom. It's been beautifully said. And as I get older, what am I going to do? How am I going to show up in the world? What is my contribution going to be? And it may be that it's not an occupation or a volunteer position. It may be that just I bring joy and a smile to those that need it at that point, that I allow myself the ability to feel joy so that I can be an example for someone who may be going through a difficult time and can just sit in the presence of someone who maybe isn't. So I go back to that first question of where we started. Who do you want to be when you get older? I would ask if it's on your list of joy, of contentment, of gratitude, of inspiration, contribution, sisterhood, colleague, friend, mentor, all of those things we can embrace. So in closing, I would say, when you are filled and you have an abundant cup, can you give and assist someone else? When you're in the middle of working with someone, whether it's a friend or a family member or someone that you're working with professionally, can you stand alongside of them and just listen as they continue on their journey? When you're ahead and doing really well, can you turn around and pull a hand up and say, I gotcha. We're going to do it. We got this. And if you're behind someone, can you cheer them on and say, wow, thank you for the guide. Hadn't realized that was a way to go. And that is something that's now of interest for me. So I want to thank everybody for being here today. And I appreciate your listening ear, and enjoy and have a fabulous day.
Thank you, Carl. I'd love for everyone here with us on Zoom to unmute yourself so we can clap and say yay to Dr. Carla Johnston for this great information. Thank you. Thank
Yay.
you.
Wonderful.
Thank
Woo.
you. Carla, I really love this idea of beginner, and I've always been attracted to the idea of beginner mind when we start anything new, but that it's okay. It's good to be a beginner. All those things you mentioned are so exciting. And they're all open to us at any age, but they're especially open to us even more, I believe, as we age through these 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90, 100 decades. And I also really love the example of being an example to younger women, that because my generation of women did not have that. I didn't know women who really aged with joy. There was a lot of other things going on. So I want to thank you, Carla, and I want to thank anyone who's watching this live or watching the replay. If you'd like to join us for one of our 9 free Zoom gatherings a month, or an in-person in Columbia, Maryland, Richmond, Virginia, or Tallahassee, Florida, comment below and I'll tell you how to do that. Or you can also go to my website, opwgc.com, and find out all about our community. That link is also in the text, as is the link to Carla's website. Thanks again for being here, everyone.